So hey,
Hi there.
how you feeling today?
Not too bad. I'm excited. I've got a Red Bull that's the Sea Blue edition, sugar-free Juneberry. Delicious.
Juneberry.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. It's all right, but I've been enjoying my what is it called? Berryade Rockstar non-carbonated.
Non-carbonated.
Yeah, they both kind of taste like gnome berry,
Gnomeberry.
but I like the non-carbonated one more lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So, real quick, give me your thoughts, or if you want to share a little bit with me what you thought about some of the stuff we've seen lately.
Ooh, okay. So last night we watched The Gorge.
The Gorge.
I think that could probably be a new comfort movie for me. I think it's got cute romance. It's got like some really interesting kind of take on some monsters slash, I guess, integrated with nature, which kind of brought me to like the Annihilation and like almost kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, where they like have this, the pirates have like the barnacles all over them, and they're just kind of like gross. I thought it was interesting and fun. I really liked it.
Yeah, so did I. And it is the director Scott Derrickson, I think, who did Black Phone and Sinister, which are two favorites.
Yeah, very well made.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I loved the dynamic between the two leads, between Mr. Fantastic and Furiosa, young Furiosa,
Right.
which was really cool, and some Ripley from Aliens in there as well. Yeah, that was really fun, super cool, and yeah, comfort movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just is sweet, and on Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Yeah, Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah.
It's now known as Halloween.
So I guess my official rating for it would be like, I give it 3.666 skulls out of 5. And as far as the gore score, like, I mean, it had some gory, gross, slimy stuff in there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a splatter movie.
No, definitely not.
So, like a 5 out of 10 for a gore score, just to say. But yeah, I liked the inventive creatures and the things that were going on in there. So that was really cool. And then
What, Heart Eyes?
Huh?
Heart Eyes.
Oh, Heart Eyes. Yes, Heart Eyes.
Heart Eyes.
Heart
Eyes.
Yeah, Heart Eyes. What's your take on that?
I enjoyed it, but it's not something that like I'd watch a ton. It was cute. It was cute. It had some interesting little like romance and splatter. Lots of blood.
Yeah,
it was pretty gory.
Yep. I definitely liked it. I liked it. As far as like a movie goes, I mean, it played on the tropes of a standard slasher movie where at one point we were trying to say, oh, this is the guy or that's the guy or
Right.
whatever.
Kept you on edge a little bit, like,
yeah,
who is it? Who's it gonna be?
Yeah. And as it turned out, the reveal was really cool, and I thought it was original for that reason, and I think it goes up there. I mean, it gets put in with holiday slashers that I think are cool, like My Bloody Valentine, Thanksgiving, Black Christmas, all of those. If I were going to put it on a top 10 list of holiday slashers, I mean, I can't think of all of them right now, but I would rewatch it around Valentine's Day,
right?
But probably not before then again.
Like a good double feature with My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Cute.
I mean, there's not too many Valentine Day horror movies.
No, they're usually rom-coms, of course.
Yeah. So definitely I for what it was, I would, give it about a 3 out of 5 skulls, and the gore score was pretty good. But, when comparing it to other things that, I mean, the new 10 on a gore score, it used to be, I mean, Dead Alive or, a Cannibal Holocaust. It's just different kind of gore.
Mm-hmm. It's
I mean,
evolving.
yeah, there's so like a Terrifier 2 if that's a 10 on the gore score, then this would just be like a 5 or a 6.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still good. I still enjoyed it, you know. And then I know that we watched Flight Plan. Oh wait, no, what
Flight
is it?
Risk.
Flight Risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Marky Mark.
Yeah.
Directed by Mad Max. And while it wasn't a horror movie, I still had fun with it. And I thought, I mean, from the guy that gives us Apocalypto and Braveheart and, the Jesus Christ on a Cracker movie. What was that?
Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ. Like, those are epic. And this was not epic, but it was like this compact, fun, cool ride.
Keeps you on edge. Like, this Marky Mark makes a huge splash as a gross character. He's very
He was grody.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
He was fucking sick, and I don't usually see him playing a bad guy. And I hope that doesn't give away anything to our thousands of listeners. No spoilers there that he's the bad guy, because I do think they show it in the trailer that he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And for taking place on a plane pretty much the whole time, it went by fast.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to lag or, go into any turbulence.
Claustrophobia.
Yeah. And then what you didn't see that I watched the other day was the new Captain America, which
you sneaky watched it on me.
Yes, I did. And I really liked it. Like, yeah, it goes a lot for me. It fits in there with the other Captain America movies. It reminds me a little bit of The Winter Soldier. And it's no secret that Harrison Ford plays Captain Ross. And God, I don't want to give anything away because, I don't want to give anything away to you, but it's cool how Marvel movies have multiple universes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there could be, one Spider-Man over here and one Hulk over there. And, just to say that I was really satisfied with it. And I really like Sam Wilson as Captain America, whereas I didn't know if I would or not. I've always had a problem like, oh, he doesn't take the super soldier serum, so he's like a regular guy. But I heard it explained, I read it explained in a way that, Captain America, Steve Rogers, they chose him to be Captain America because of his heart and his spirit and, his dedication to the cause and shit like that. And the super soldier serum was just a tool that helped him to achieve greater heights as that character. And Sam has his Falcon costume, which is pretty much like, Iron Man tech.
Right.
So that's his tool. And he's a badass with it. So it was really cool. And I love Red Hulk, Harrison Ford I love. And it was super fun. I have not liked a lot of the Marvel shit they've been putting out on, Disney Plus or whatever.
Right.
I haven't watched Agatha all along, which I heard was good, but all the other stuff, some of it has just seemed to be watered down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this seemed like it could just go right along with the big movies. So that's just my take on it. And yeah, I think you'll like it. We should go see it together.
Yes.
You know, Red Hulk.
Red Hulk.
So yeah, so that's like the most recent ones, right?
Mhm.
We haven't really watched anything else that we talked about.
Mm-mm.
Oh well, we didn't talk about Wolfman, did we? We talked about a little bit on the other podcast. A little bit.
Oh, in the Ghoulcast, yes.
Yeah, in passing, because we were talking about the top 6 of 24.
Yeah, not everybody saw Wolfman. So
right.
We didn't talk about it too much.
So, I mean, we could talk about it here.
Sure. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it was good for a matinee.
Yeah.
I liked the director's take on Invisible Man at least twice as good, if not more. But it's just like, it's I watched it again and, it kind of holds my attention. But the whole thing for me is, I just, it wasn't as traditional as I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
As a,
you mean transformation wise, is it like a
yeah,
werewolf?
creature wise, and just yeah, I guess I don't like the take on the creature as much.
I want to see more fur.
Yeah, I want to see a wolf man. Yeah. When I went back and watched the Del Toro Wolfman with Anthony Hopkins again, after that, I was like, this is so much better. This is my wolf guy.
Yeah.
And of course, the original with Lon Chaney, Jr., that is the best thing ever. So, yeah, it was cool. And I enjoyed seeing it with you. But I'm glad it was a matinee. I'm glad it was free popcorn day. And I'm glad I saw it with you. If I had seen it by myself, I might have been on my phone half the time. So,
understandably so.
Yeah. And what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I do like Del Toro's Wolfman better.
Right. Not Guillermo del Toro.
No.
Obviously.
No. Benicio.
Yeah. Benicio del Toro's Wolfman. Yeah. He's way cooler. That's just how I feel about it.
I like how dark that movie is. Just very, very like dark ambiance, period type clothing. It's just really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Where this one's more modern. There's some emotional elements in it too, where I was just kind of like, aw. But yeah, it's all right.
Right. I guess for me, I just need my classic werewolf stuff. And the difference between this and The Invisible Man, big spoiler alert if you haven't seen the, Invisible Man remake, go see it because it's like years old now. But in the original, it was he acquired the power of invisibility through science. And it was the same in the reboot, the remake or whatever.
Right.
It was just a suit instead of like injecting yourself with something that,
Yeah.
The same with Hollow Man, which is another great one. Another great take on the Invisible Man.
Bacon.
Yeah, with bacon bits. Yeah. So yeah, I dug that one a whole lot more. And so yeah, Wolfman was just a pup in comparison, as far as I'm concerned. Wolf.
A pup.
Pup guy.
Aww.
Yeah.
Pup guy. He's just a pup.
Yeah. So it's all right. So yeah, other than that, I don't think there's anything else that that we have to discuss movie wise. But I did want to go over some of these questions and kind of just like bring people up to date on what has been going on movie wise, and just kind of talking with you about it to see where we're at with some things. I know that for a while we were talking Demoness being the the next movie, the feature movie that we were gonna get moving on, and there's been pre-production work on that and all kinds of time spent to get that one off the ground until I realized that I thought it would be a little bit easier and cutting our teeth a little bit better with doing a little like a smaller budget piece, which we have a lot of footage to go from. To do A Strange Case of Lucifer Fulci, found footage type of documentary, mockumentary. I don't know. I'm going to meet with David Hayes on Monday and talk to him and see what he thinks about it. Because he's done these things a little, before. And I just want to, when I get going on the next movie project, going full force, I want to make sure that it's something that can get done without false starts and if running out of money or otherwise. So Demoness might be taking a break for a minute and the Lucifer thing moving forward. But if David says no, you know what, let's take a look at the different obstacles we have, and I'm gonna rely a little bit on his wisdom before we go. So there's a few projects. A few projects right now. The Lord's documentary, which I would say is 75% in the can. And then the Lucifer, or The Strange Case of Lucifer, and Demoness. So that's where those are at right now. And I figured we might go through some of these questions and talk about things amongst ourselves.
Okay.
Do you have thoughts about the movies, or you're just kind of going by what?
I am just flying by the seat of my pants.
Going with the flow.
Going with the flow.
That's good.
Just, I guess, waiting and watching as we go, and diving into whenever we dive into it. So
that's one of the things that I love about you and your creativity is that you are able to kind of bend with things. You are like water. You go with the flow.
Yes.
And in my brain, once I get started on something, I want to finish it. Like I need it to be a thing. I sometimes take on too many things at once and I start to feel like, oh, this is...
You're a little overwhelmed.
Yeah. So when it comes to a movie, a feature, it's got to be one thing only. Like the Lord's thing, thankfully, it's not just us. Yeah. But that is one thing that I really appreciate about you, is that your willingness to kind of go with the flow and to, fly by the seat of your panties. It's really cool.
So let's get into these questions. So let's start with the basics, I guess.
Okay.
So why did you originally choose the name Lucifer Fulci, and what did it represent for you at the time?
Okay. Why did I choose the name Lucifer Fulci? And what did it... Okay, so you've probably heard this before, but choosing the name was, at the time, like, to speak in linear terms, at the time, it was something that was suggested to do in order to create an image for the band Penis Flytrap. Not having done anything like this or even thought about a stage name before, it was something that the four of us had sat down in my old family room back in California. Me and Dinah Cancer, Elvorian von Spivey, and Hal Satan. Well, Dinah was already Dinah Cancer for many years. Her real name, Mary Sims, she had taken on that stage name a long time ago. And um, Leslie Spivey chose Elvorian von Spivey, probably just because it sounded fucking cool. And I don't know if Elvorian was like, it had a different meaning for her. I can't remember. But yeah, me and Juan, we were just these, like we hadn't done this kind of thing before. And so choosing the name Lucifer was just, oh, what sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
I just, it might have even been Mary that suggested Lucifer. I think she said because I reminded her of Satan. And I thought, well, Lucifer Fulci sounds like Lucio, and I'll, do it to honor him. I was, super inspired by him. And yeah, I mean, it just, looking back, it seemed like it was something to do to be in a cool type of band. But as time went on and strange things happened over the years, I couldn't tell you the significance about it. It seemed almost like it was always meant to be. The amount of things, I can't tell you whether or not it was coincidence or that because I used the name that it drew people towards me. I can't even tell you if the people that were drawn to me were your average ordinary people, or maybe they had something else going on. It was all very strange because choosing the name at the time was just for fun, just for the sake of a band. And over the years, the significance became apparent that, it had power to it. It had power and influence that people were willing. I don't know if people would have reacted to me the same way had I not taken that name, but it seemed to influence people, those that followed me or dedicated things to me, dedicated time and energy. I don't know if it would have been the same had I just always been David St. Eerie. I couldn't tell you because for a long time it meant something to people in very strange ways. And what was the other part?
What did it represent to you at the time?
Oh, yeah, I kind of answered that. Yeah.
Okay. What was the moment you realized that you needed to change the name?
Okay, so when I thought about changing the name so this is 2025, so it was right when Lords of October started. So I had been using Lucifer since 1994. A long time ago. Yeah. And when did Lords of October start?
Almost 10 years ago.
Right. So like 2015, between 94 and 2015, I used Lucifer for everything I did, creative wise, books and movies and music. Everything was Lucifer Fulci. And by the time that Lords came around in 2015, I wanted to change it because I didn't want to continue the, I don't know. I just wanted to change. Didn't want to drag. I guess what it was is the sort of satanic, what's the word I'm looking for? Connection, the
Mm.
satanic connection, trying to talk to just anybody to say, yeah, when they call you Lucifer, immediately there's this connotation that goes with it.
Right.
And that's why I said, I wanted to change my name to like David St. Eerie. I wanted to use that name when we started Lords officially. And it was Uncle Salem, Paul, who talked me out of it. He had said, you have a following. People love Lucifer and you should use it.
So this wasn't a sudden thing. It was just, it's been building for a while, the change in monikers.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just, just get, I don't know if I outgrew it or I don't know. Over time, some of the shit that has gone down in the name of Lucifer or Satan or the other things I've experienced just kind of, made me want to leave it behind, for personal reasons, but also professional. Like I said, I want to put my creativity into places all over the place. I want world domination. I want to, be available everywhere, and not everywhere is going to be keen on, an author called Lucifer. Or,
That's true.
and thinking about it now, with the way the world is, that it has been taken over with so much satanic imagery and acceptance of evil. It almost seems like, well, it doesn't really fucking matter anymore. Like a band like Ghost is ginormous worldwide.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And they outwardly praise Satan in everything they do. It's just right out there. But the thing is, with something like that, with most things that are outwardly satanic, they don't have the main title of what they do to be satanic. Like the name Ghost is just that, it's ghost.
Right.
The singer who looks like a ghoul is Papa, and even some of the most outwardly satanic bands out there, like Deicide, singer's name is Glenn,
Right.
Behemoth, nobody is
Creator.
Creator.
Venom.
Right? I mean, we're talking about these bands that revel in the imagery and the idea of Satan, but they are not going right out there and saying, I am Lucifer. It's a different thing. It's a different thing to call yourself Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool name. Oh, a zombie guy. Like, it's corny. It's vaudeville. And that's where my persona has led me to. Wanting to make a name change has a lot to do with just being tired of the association. Like Violator says in Spawn, like, why do we always get the fucking idiots or whatever, all the Satanists that are like, oh, they're fucking stupid. And that's the way I feel sometimes. Like, I just don't, I get tired of the association. I've gotten tired of it. And so with Lords, like, sure, we've been doing this 10 years, still put on the makeup, still the persona, but it's not something that I'm fighting for. And it wouldn't matter to me one bit if, we stopped using it, like, at all. But it's a character. I just consider it a character now. I change into Lucifer to go play with Lords, and everything else I do, like, especially the books, the Lucifer Fulci books, were my attempts at being completely over the top and vile to the point where I thought, if I can't gross you out with every single page, I'm failing. And I just got tired of it.
Yeah.
Just get tired of it. Like, and what's weird is, and it could just be a mental health thing. I don't know. But there have been times where I, I've talked to people, I've talked to fans that have come up to me, and when they address me as Lucifer, I say, oh, just call me David, and I try to introduce the new things that I'm doing. There's like a vast, weird disappointment. And there was one guy online that was like, God, I can't remember his name, but like he had like this demon persona, and he was like straight, praise, hail, Sataning me, ongoing, and in comment sections and all this kind of stuff. And when I told him, hey man, it's just a thing, he was like analyzing some lyrics about how, in this one song from the Insectoid album, God, can't remember the name of the song, Grinding Bone, I think, where he's, trying to find the meaning in this supernatural cosmic, thing that is devouring life throughout the galaxy, and how it's like associated with him, like, I'm like, dude, it's just a fucking song, man. I got inspired by Judas Priest's Electric Eye about the Hellion,
Yeah.
like this was my take on the Hellion. And it really upset him. It upset him, and he was
Offended.
yeah, he was trying to call me out, calling me, um, telling me that I was a fake and a phony and all this shit, and trying to tell other people that I was a fake and phony and not the real Lucifer. But people were defending me, letting him know that I indeed was. So it's like, yeah, like
Bring some interesting folk.
you
That's
can,
for sure.
just, yeah, it's like, I want to keep that over there. So it was time. It's time.
So, how did you come to choose the name David St. Eerie? And what does St. Eerie mean to you?
Well, that's the name I was born with.
All right.
Yep. That's my real name. That's my actual name from my true parents from Transylvania. The Saint Eerie's. They used to live next door to the Orlocks.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the truth.
As I see fit.
Yeah.
How did it feel for the first time you introduced yourself as David St. Eerie? Did it feel like authentic right away, or did it take time to like adjust?
Yeah, so a little bit of, yeah, it was like, to put it out there. I People change their names all the time. In fact, our friend Glenn was the one who was saying, hey, David Bowie went by many names.
Oh yeah,
The Thin White Duke, Ziggy Stardust. I can't remember the other ones, but yeah, that he would constantly reinvent himself. I think Prince did it as well. He
changed his name into a symbol.
Yeah, whatever.
The artist formerly known as Prince.
Right. And I just thought, I didn't just want to like change your name on social media. I thought, if I'm going to do this, I have to have something behind it, and that takes time. That's why I immediately started, getting really serious about about putting shit out there. Wrote the first couple of books, Seasons of Horror and the Appalachian Horror, I think in the span of a year, and directed the first video under that name for Nightcrawler by Lords of October. I put that out there, and then started to write music for the band Saint Eerie. That it's all been the last couple years that I started to use that name and to create things. So now I've got those two books and Demoness out there for that, and the band Saint Eerie is a thing. We have the one official song out there now, Midnight Desire. The band has had its two official practices together. Well, Matt and I have been practicing together forever and recording tracks for the EP, but now we've had two official practices together with the two Matts and myself, which I fucking love. So it makes it feel really, more official now. Now it's just a thing. Now that's just who I am, because I've done things behind it. I don't have any checks with that name on it. We're not going to change our last name legally yet. But yeah, it feels normal and natural now. But like I said, I had to have things. Everything I did as Lucifer, I have to reestablish myself in the creative community, not just create social media. And this Saint Eerie Presents, our podcast,
Yeah.
We have a podcast, 3 books, a music video, a band.
And a movie on the way.
Yeah. 3 movies on the way with David St. Eerie and Scara St. Eerie tied to it. So, and it seems like it's been a while now. It doesn't feel new anymore. It just feels good.
Your horror persona was deeply connected by Lucifer Fulci. Did you ever worry that changing your name would hurt your creative work or the identity in the horror community?
That's a good question, Scara. Thanks for asking. Yeah, of course, yeah. But it was mostly in my head. Like I was mentioning Glenn Birdsall, he really helped me just with the conversation, just by saying, you can do this and that will still exist. It's just like an original painting or an original movie, Dawn of the Dead from '79, George A. fucking Romero, that will always be. And when Zack Snyder came and did the remake, and everybody was like, oh, that's sacrilege, you can't do that. Well, it's going to suck or it's going to be fun. Turned out it was really fun. But you always have the original. And that's what kept me thinking, I don't need to worry about it. It might, part of me was like, oh, will that just fall to the wayside and just be something that, like throwing away old cans instead of recycling or something. I realize this shit is forever. The internet doesn't forget anything. And you will always and forever be able to look up Lucifer Fulci and find variety of things. So I don't worry about it anymore. If one day, something happened and I felt the need to really embrace the title again, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I don't have any worries about it now. It's just sometimes it feels like the fucking dark half. That old Stephen King book. Like they the character in that like put to rest George Stark.
Right.
And then suddenly this evil guy came back out and was like murdering his friends and his people because he was like, you are not going to kill me off. I live. And sometimes it fucking, nobody's died around me, thank God. But sometimes it fucking feels like that with the way people respond, and things just kind of keep pulling me back. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I have strange dreams about, you know, about things that make it feel a whole lot more real than just a name. Feelings of being pulled back into a strange space where, I not like, oh, I have to go do this and go dress up and put makeup on. Not like that. Just a feeling like he's still there, just waiting if I want him. And I wake up like, oh, it's a fucking dream. I also dream about, having 25 puppies. So I would rather have 25 puppies.
Pandemonium.
Yeah. Could you imagine having 25 puppies?
That'd be a lot of puppy poop and a lot of food.
Yeah. You'd have to have
puppies.
At least 25 acres for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a puppy farm.
Yeah, puppy farm.
Tons of Rottweilers and Boston Terriers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What about you? Does this ever beckon any thoughts to you? Like, I don't know. Like, there have been some very strange things that have happened. I've shared with you over the years. You've never ever once seemed scared or weirded out by anything that I've ever told you.
No, I have not. When we first met and you were talking about, your persona as Lucifer Fulci, I was more intrigued than anything, coming from a background of loving, The Exorcist and The Omen. And, I was like, ooh, he's creepy, which, as a Scorpio, I don't feel like nothing really phases me. I can watch a horror movie and just kind of like, I know what's going to happen. I don't get scared with jump scares very often. If it is, it's a really good one, I guess. But no, it's always been intriguing to me. And my Instagram is Beloved Bride of Lucifer. It keeps people away. I like that persona of being, mysterious, and I like to push people to the back burner and, keep my personal life, separate, which is, to me, a very sacred space. And it doesn't faze me whatsoever. Never has.
Yeah, I'm glad about that. I often wonder, because I've seen people, I've seen firsthand how things have affected others to the point of almost madness. And, I often wonder if you were in those situations, if you would feel different. It feels like, you are over here on this end of things, hearing stories and social media personas and this and that. But if you were with me at a certain time, a certain point in my life where people witnessed things, would you still feel un un you know would you still not be afraid?
I wouldn't.
And that's why I love you. That's why you and I know are destined to be. There are some things that I won't say on any public forum, but one thing I will always say is that I love you because of who you are and what you do for us. You give us a balance and an energy that nobody else possibly could, which is really super cool. I love that about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
How would
That's
you
a,
describe the dynamic between us two when we're working creatively?
I guess the dynamic would be, oh fuck, I don't know. Um, it's really great. I know that it's really great when we work together. You you're right there to complement whatever the core effort is. You know, you have ideas of your own that you put into there. I mean, it works out perfectly. That's what I know. Um, how is the dynamic? I usually I lead with an idea, and you will either assist with it perfectly, or you will want to add to it, and then we work on it together.
Mm-hmm.
It all turns out to be a equally collaborative process, and I know that when it's all said and done, and there's a project that's been completed, that it's equal parts. It's equal parts, and that's how things get done, and they get done in our way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like working with a bandmate. Like I generally will write a piece of music and share it with my bandmates, and they add their thing, or if they write the piece of music and ask me to add to it, it becomes this collaboration, and it's very easygoing. It's not at all like a struggle. I think the only struggle I have is how to express myself sometimes, what I want to convey. Even in doing this, sometimes I'll just like try to figure out what's going on. And if I can't quite get a hold of it, you add something to it and it becomes perfect.
I feel
So,
like it's like two rivers meeting. We both have our own flow, and sometimes like you're the bigger river and I'm kind of like a little creek that kind of swerves off a little bit, and I'm like kind of doing my own little thing. But when we come together and make something like so incredibly fun, and we work together so easily, bringing our own parts, that it's just such an awesome experience in this lifetime. I enjoy it.
yeah, it's always a nice collaboration. It's always easy. There are sometimes I wish that you would bring more, so I wouldn't have to think as much. But
That's who you are as a person. You are a deep thinker and an empathetic person that just your whole aura is just like all encompassing. You think of everything, you plan things, you list things, you do that stuff. And of course, like when we were first talking, I'm fly by the seat of your pants, kind of like, woo, I'm doing it. And sometimes I'm a little unmotivated where I'm kind of like, oh, I'm gonna just blob around in blobby town and just do my own thing. But when I do get to that spark where I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this thing or that, I'm like, I'm ready to go. And then I set my mind to it and I'm like, all right, this is gonna be good.
yeah, yeah, it all works out really well. There's never a struggle with it. The only yeah, like you say, when you're feeling like you don't want to do anything, I could pick up on your vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to bother you. But there are
Yeah.
times like, oh, I want to get something done. I want to do something, and you're just like, oh, I don't feel good today, or I got to eat a Pop Tart, or whatever it is, pastry.
Toaster strudels.
Yes, whatever it is, when you're trying to do that, that's when I feel like, okay, I don't want to bother you. That's why I will look into, like, upon my myriad of lists, I have, possible things I can do solo wise, a solo podcast, a variety of different things. I'm like, oh no, it's always better just to wait. I prefer to do everything more with you. But that's what I do. Like if I'm by myself and I'm writing something, creating something, then when the time comes to work with you, then it all turns out to be better. Yeah, I would say that's the good collaborative effort. And as long as Catriona keeps coming in here and voicing her 2 cents,
She has quite a few 2 cents to spare today.
yeah, then that's when we get the whole story. When
her underappreciated talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So does that light, when it does that, does that make it?
I think it affects it a little bit. I think that was the issue with it focusing and stuff. So we might have to rethink some lighting in here.
Well, I guess we'll have to check it out because I can't see it autofocusing right now. But there have been like some strange glitches that I don't think are from the lights. It's just kind of weird. There are some times when, okay, so the light just flickered there, but nothing changed on the camera.
Not that we can see as it's recording, but we'll be able to see like when the lights dim and
okay,
auto dimming. We might have to change our get some lamps instead.
Maybe.
So
okay.
So what do you think is one of my most underappreciated talents?
Underappreciated talent? I don't know. I appreciate all of. I try to never take you for granted, no matter what. I mean, I've watched too many movies and read too many books over the years that I see characters taking people for granted, and then next thing you know they're gone. And I never want to do that. So I always try to appreciate all of your talents as they are. But like I said, I want to give credit where credit is due. You are very organized. You are very meticulous. I think one of your talents I really appreciate, I don't always love to see because it means there's trouble, is when there's a problem with the airbrush machine when we're doing makeup.
Drives me nuts.
Your ability to work on the fly and to stay timely, and even though you've checked everything out and you have cleaned the machine and done everything, we get to a gig and next thing you know, the color's not coming out. You have an amazing ability to work on the fly, to get things done regardless. And I can see that you're frustrated by it, but you don't quit.
No.
So that's something I think is a really great aspect of your talents. Oh my God, this cat.
She's like being very needy at the moment. Come on.
Wow. Yeah, that's something I think too. The way about you that you have that is a constant source of inspiration is that when I am ready to do something, you are always there. You will always, make the extra effort, even if you don't feel like it. Like if we have to do something, like I said, I will leave you alone if you seem tired and we're trying to do one of these or certain other things. I will leave you alone. But when the time comes, you will be on top of it, whether we've, been up early, done all the moving, all the gig stuff. We get to it. You do this, you do that, the merch, the makeup, you're helping with the gear. And then we have a 2-hour drive home. You're ready to get back in and drive if I'm too tired or my eyes aren't feeling good or, and you get it done. Yeah. There's no quit in you.
No, there's not. I am when I have the energy and we're doing things, like cons and music and stuff like that, I'm Red Bulled up and ready to go. Even if I'm like tired, I still I can still put in, the drive time or any of the extra effort just to, be your partner and do all things that need to be done. If I show a little frustration, when I can't get that airbrush to do what I want it to do, and it's whether it be globby in there or something, or it's just I'm not sure what happens. After it's not stopping, I'll get a little frustrated, but I end up figuring it out to do something to be resourceful in all things that I try to do. So
Yeah.
I'm I'm multi-talented, I think.
Yeah, you are.
And I appreciate your appreciation and considerations and all things us.
Yeah, you're welcome. But that I think that's one thing, just to put it simply, is you don't quit. You don't just get frustrated and show like I can't fucking do this and walk away. You make sure it gets done, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you.
Yeah.
You take a lot of time and a lot of effort in all things that you do, and you're just an amazing person, and I adore you and love you
Well, thank
endlessly.
you. I love you also, as you know. And yeah, I'm just kind of wired that way. If we're doing something, by the time things get done, I usually have that extra energy, Red Bull or coffee or whatever. I get inspired by the show or the event, even if it is a convention. We're sitting there, and if there's people doing, oh, excuse me, not today. I have yawns today. If we're at an event, even a convention, and there are people and there's interactions, I'm on top of it. I love to do it. And when it's over and done, I still feel that energy. I'm not like, oh, this has kicked my ass. I'm like, what next? That's the way it has been. After these recent practices with St. Eerie, I was telling the guys over there, I'm like, when it's about 7:00 and we have to wrap it up. What was that?
Probably a cat or two.
Yeah, when we had, oh, they're just going outside. It was just the dog flap. When we have to wrap it up at practice, 7:00, and Matt has to get to school or whatever. I was telling him, like, I don't know what to do with the energy now. I'm like, we're done. I said, then I go home, and you're just like, oh, hi, honey. Like, what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? Like, oh, do you want to watch a movie? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing something still.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a lot of extra energy, and I love that feeling. I love that feeling. I can only imagine what it must be like for Tony and Curran and Mark to be on tour with Venom Inc. to be doing this every night, and just being like, okay, we're gonna, you get in the bus, you go, you show up to the venue, you're checking everything out, you people are getting your shit ready, and you're just like going meet and greets, doing all this shit, and by the time that you get ready and you jam through that kind of a set, my God, the energy. And then afterwards, being up till 3 a.m, meeting more people, talking, right. Finally getting some food probably. And then, bam, off on another adventure. Like they were, it seems like they were just here in the cold ass Michigan. And then, today they're like in Texas or something, or, oh no, they were showing pictures of the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, whatever it's called now. They were showing pictures of that. I think they're Corpus Christi.
Crispy. Like their bread.
Yeah, Corpus Christi. Is that Texas, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so they were in like this amazing weather, and they were just over here in the freezing cold, but like every day they're doing their thing, and they're having, great energy all that time, and it's over in just a couple of days. A couple more days, and their tour is over. And well, I know for Salem's Child it is, but then after that, they're hopping a plane back over the pond and doing, more dates in Europe, just going and going. Like, that's so much stuff. And I totally feed off that kind of energy. And that's, just 1 or 2 nights in a row for us,
Yeah.
Usually. So,
I think it'd be
yeah.
different, like, um, had we not, like, had their day jobs and stuff. If that's something that like makes them enough money to get by for a while and be able to tour like that, it would be fun for a little while. I think I'd get really tired. I'd be
Oh,
like,
sure.
I want my bed.
Yeah, a
I
lot
want
of
my
people
cat and my
do.
dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people do.
Take my
Yeah.
dog with me.
Yeah, like I think the driver.
The driver has a little dog that runs around. It was running around the Diesel concert lounge.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. You just wanted somewhere for him to run around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh my God.
I don't blame him. So let's talk horror.
Okay.
What's your favorite horror villain of all time?
Okay, so these are good questions that we both should be answering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now my favorite villain is behind me. It's Mad Maxine. She's just trying to get all the attention she can get.
Uh-huh.
He said, "What are you doing, Dad?" She's like, "I'm behind your chair. What are you gonna do? You gonna just sit there?" You're so sweet. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's such a great question. It's got to be Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
It's got to be Jason Voorhees. The disfigured, mass murdering, immortal character that has, an ongoing story, a variety of different storylines and elements. The guy's been to space. He's been to hell.
He's been everywhere.
He's been to the camp. He's been to hell. He's been to space.
Chained underwater.
Yeah, but all of the variations of his makeup and all the creative kills, growing up with those movies, and just a real staple of the 80s. Mm-hmm. Of those Friday the 13th movies. Even the ones that I used to think sucked, I find to be amazing now, except for part 7 and part 8. And I'll have to rewatch Jason Goes to Hell again. But yeah, they keep me intrigued, and I keep hoping for another one. Just another one. Maybe somebody creative can just get in there and do it. Like maybe the guy that did In a Violent Nature can do that. Can do a reboot or just a continuation. It's gotten to the point now where he's such a legend. Jason Voorhees is such a legend that you could just, make a movie, make a series. You don't even need to tell his story again. He's like Batman. Everybody knows the story, Batman, your parents were killed, you became a vigilante, and you're rich. You have different costumes. He's like Batman in a lot of ways. Everybody knows his story. So just make some more movies. Yeah, I think he's got to be the favorite villain. I have a ton of the toys and masks and everything else, and books, movies, everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, easy. I think that's an easy answer. What about you? Mine
would have to be Nosferatu or Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like something to do with that time period where you're you have like this entity, this man who's very lonely or in need of his bride, his wife, especially in Bram Stoker's Dracula, where he comes and he finds Mina again and like, well, as Elizabeth. It's like a kind of like reincarnation of her, And that's just, I don't know if it's like the romanticizing, and you have this mysterious creature, kind of like how I feel about you. You're my mysterious creature, my husband, and I feel like we've, you know, crossed paths many of times, and I think that's one of my most favorite part about beauty and horror is Nosferatu, Dracula.
I have crossed the oceans of time to find you.
Oh,
I just made that up.
I will cry diamonds.
I didn't think about him being a villain. I guess I always think of him as the hero. There are, I mean, anti-hero to us, always love the monsters. What are you doing? What are you doing? You want attention? Oh, both of you. Okay, go on. Go on. Go do dog stuff. Go on. Go do dog stuff.
Plop. Be back later.
Other good villains or anti-heroes, talking about this a little bit. Now that you mention it, I think he's one of them too. All the iterations of, Dracula, Vlad the Impaler, Count Orlok. But more modern, it seems like an obvious answer, but I love Dexter Morgan. I love Dexter, a little less in love with the New Blood series where that shitty version of Harrison comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like him, but Dexter in, the character, especially watching Original Sin, the young version of him. And I find that character to be very intriguing. I've seen a lot of people arguing over whether or not, he is a hero or an anti-hero, or if he's really the bad guy
right
of the series, but he's very intriguing.
He's a good bad guy.
Yeah. If we're talking villains, I guess he could be considered a villain. Yeah, he's another one that just springs to mind. I would say one of my more recent ones is also Art the Clown, but because of my, I don't know, I found a certain disinterest in him after Terrifier 3. Maybe I didn't like the movie as much as the first two. So maybe in time I will, also rank him up there with one of my favorites, because I really loved those first two movies. And I found him to be hilarious. It's just the third one was lacking. But, like I said, the other Jason ones didn't do it for me either.
You like the silent killer type.
Yeah. So
if you had to live in one horror movie universe, what would it be?
One horror movie universe. Shit, I guess Dawn of the Dead.
Really?
Yeah. Dawn of the Dead, I think, would be a really, just that's what comes to mind. Like, I wouldn't want to live in a Friday the 13th universe being stalked by Jason Voorhees. Huh?
I like sleep. I don't know if I could sleep in something that's like, you got zombies coming after you, or you don't know where they're going to come from next. Or,
sure.
Or, Jason's stalking you, or Freddy's coming for you. There's all kinds of things. Where would I be in a horror movie?
Well, I always thought when I was young and first watched Dawn of the Dead, I would play like I was in the movie. Mm-hmm. I would sometimes dress up like a zombie and walk in fields because I thought that was fun to do.
Yeah.
I was so inspired by the movie. And then I was also inspired by, the soldiers, or, Ken Foray and Scott Reiniger's characters. It just seemed like so much fun that, you didn't have any responsibilities like work or school.
Yeah.
And you could just run around and blow these zombies away. That's where my mindset was at. And I'm talking Dawn of the Dead, slow moving zombies. Like I would
Yes.
not want to be running for my life
Oh God,
anywhere.
no.
And there was always something that seemed interesting or fun about, you know, having to like find a place to hide. And when they got into the mall and closed it off, it's like you got all these resources everywhere and you're just, hiding and fending, defending your place. And yeah, it just seemed like a lot of fun. But with further thought, something like Dracula, like that sort of world where it's all, Victorian or Gothic, and there might be werewolves running around and
Hmm.
vampires and werewolves. But then again, they don't have like bazookas and shit. You
No.
know. What about you? What sort of universe would you want to live in?
Oh gosh, I think it would have to be something paranormal. Creepy, but not like, to the point where they're like coming after and killing you. So, like, I don't know, I'm very intrigued with paranormal entities and things of the unknown.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Hey, I was just got a message from Zach because he was going to come over here and like learn a little bit of music
Yeah.
before the Taco Holocaust.
Oh, tacos.
So so yeah, just give me a second here.
Mhm.
Let me see. Um, Let me see.
Hello, small one.
Pardon the okay. Yeah, I didn't know what time there was like an adoption party going on over there,
Oh, right.
and I didn't know what time he was going to be done. I didn't know what was going on exactly, but it's almost 2:30. So, um, what else do we got on this little list of things we were going to talk about?
We have. So, what's scarier? An abandoned house in the woods or a haunted asylum?
An abandoned house in the woods or a haunted asylum?
Hmm.
Probably a haunted asylum for me.
Much more, yeah, I think much more paranormal, mental instability, like would haunt more than an abandoned house in the woods. But then again, if you watch The Ritual, that's a really creepy house. But definitely, it depends on the entity itself, I suppose. But haunted asylum, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would think a haunted asylum. Just I think it would be bigger, and if it's truly haunted, what kind of spirits are there?
Yeah.
Are they malevolent? Are they Casper the Friendly Fucking Ghost? That just
Hmm.
seems to be scarier.
What's the weirdest or funniest moment you had while working on a project?
Oh my god, that's a lot of years. Weirdest or funniest moment? Oh my god. Weirdest or funniest moment working on a project? Well, I could tell you one thing that just popped into my head a long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away, there was me and Jason Fry were trying to make this little movie called Gorehounds. And we were going to play it off like just have normal conversation. It was going to be unscripted. between gorehounds, people. Oh, can I see your blueberry? Um, and we had sort of this idea that we would have conversations. Just it was a podcast before there were podcasts.
Yeah.
That we were going to film just this conversation, but also a wraparound story was going to be that there was somebody that was killing off members of our party.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know who it was. So at one point, we were up by Dodger Stadium in that area, kind of secluded. And our friend Allison Grace, she was playing, she was one of us. And she was being murdered, by the leather gloved killer, like in an Argento movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were doing things up there. She was covered in fake blood, this and that and the other. And we were filming stuff, and this car drives by and kind of takes a look and then drives off. And so we just continue to film. And the next thing you know, there's helicopters flying over us, and they shoot down their spotlight, and it's the police, and police cars are coming up. And I was like, holy shit, what to do? And Jason's like, keep filming, production value. I'm like, it's okay. And so he kept filming or whatever. And, the police came up to us and they were like, what's going on? And we were like, oh, we're making a movie. And they were like, you can't just be doing this out here. Where's your permit? And we were like, it's a student film. And they're like, oh, okay. Cause you
don't need a permit for student film.
Yeah. So they were like, wrap it up, you're freaking out people going by. And so yeah, that was funny. I used to have a really cool picture of me with Allison. You may have seen it in the past. I had a Dead Hate the Living shirt on. I was very young, and I think I had like a rope wrapped around her neck. And I was like, rawr.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah. I do remember that photo.
And she was all just like bloody, like, oh. And that was a funny and weird experience.
Interesting.
Like, yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We had so much stuff that Jason must still have that footage somewhere. Who knows if he saved it or not. But we had a lot of footage that we filmed back then. It was so unorganized.
Yeah.
If I would have known then what I know now, it would have been a whole movie, by that time. And we had a lot of different stuff. Just too much to even think about.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was fun back then. Just stupid fun. Yeah. What about you? Can you recall any goofy shit that?
I don't know about goofy, but when we were filming for the Lords of October movie, some of the elements in there, we were at the Masonic Temple, and we caught Paul had got some interesting sounds, and I guess some things were happening in there where I was like, oh, that's really weird. Now I want to like kind of see if I can recreate it. I'm waiting to go back and just interview the spirits some more. It'd be fun.
Yeah, we still have a part 2 that we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find the paranormal very intriguing. So
yeah.
I like weird.
Yeah, I having seen as much stuff as I have, those little things, they don't excite me. I mean, it would be wonderful if there was something that was glaring and obvious, welcoming it back. But for as many things as I've seen, all that little stuff over at the Masonic Temple. I mean, and I'm happy that Paul or Tyler, whoever gets excited about, oh yeah, there was a thing that fell, or I heard a sound or something. And like, that's
I got this
cool.
on video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool and everything, but it's like small beans. And sometimes I guess small beans is good. Would I rather see a floating entity and capture it all on film and have definitive evidence that we could share? Yeah, sure, that would be great. But still, sometimes it's just, it's just, it is what it
Hello
is.
there.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
let's stop for now and we'll wrap this up. It's time for Zach to come over. Zach is supposed to, we don't have to stop it just yet. Well, I'm just going to say, at this point, what is today? Today is, oh yes, the 15th. Zach is supposed to come over. He's going to actually learn the song The Dead Hate the Living so we can incorporate it into the Lord's set. And I don't know if we're going to work on something else, but then we have our Taco Holocaust with our friend Britt, who is playing the demoness in our movie. And yeah, it's our post Halloween Taco Holocaust dinner. So it's 2:30 right now, and we're going to meet at 6. But a part of me wanted to go over to the Collectibles Unlimited.
Oh yeah.
But they close at 5.
Oh.
So in order to experience that, we would have to get there about 4, and then we would have an extra hour to wait.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think that's a good point to wrap it up here.
Okay.
All right.
Until next time.
Okay. Bye.